All right, let's just get right into it. Have you noticed the internet getting, well, kind of weird lately? We are absolutely drowning in cheap AI-generated content. Yet somehow, the creators and businesses who are absolutely dominating right now are doing it by just yapping into a camera or showing off their messy, unfinished workspaces. Sounds a bit bizarre, right? But it's actually all part of the 2026 authenticity pivot. Today, we're unpacking the data and research in this explainer to show you exactly why raw, unpolished humanity is officially beating perfect AI-generated polish. So, here's our roadmap. We're going to hit the 2026 creator landscape, dive into the how-to apocalypse, talk about selling messy sawdust, unpack the power of yapping, and finally lock in on the human authenticity advantage. Let's do this. Part 1, the 2026 creator landscape. Let's talk about the sheer scale of the modern creator economy. To really understand where we're going, we first have to grasp the unbelievable size of the YouTube ecosystem today. Seriously, it is blowing traditional media right out of the water. Just look at this number, 507 million. That's Mr. B's subscriber count based on our 2026 data. 500 million people. That's literally one guy with a camera who built an audience that makes major TV networks look tiny in comparison. And you know, the competition at the top? It is wildly fierce. You've got a solo creator like Mr. Beast sitting at number 1, right alongside massive legacy corporate machines like India's T-Series, which just pumps out huge volumes of Bollywood music. Throw in kids giants like Cocomelon and Vlad and Nikki, and you get the picture. The barrier to entry is open to everyone, sure, but the very top tier is a global, heavily entrenched battleground. And the scale gets even crazier when you look at short-form video. Back in 2021, we were seeing about 30 billion daily YouTube Shorts views. Now, we're at a staggering 70 billion. 70 billion every single day. But honestly, that begs a pretty massive question. With 70 billion views happening every 24 hours, how on earth is a single creator or brand supposed to actually stand out? Which brings us to part 2. The how-to apocalypse. This is what happens when trust becomes the new scarcity. Okay, so to stand out today, you first need to realize the internet has fundamentally changed. Pure basic info? It's dirt cheap now. Have you heard of vibe coding? It's this wild new trend where you literally just describe a vibe to an AI, and boom, it spits out a whole website. Sounds like an amazing shortcut, right? But what happens when everyone uses it? You get an internet where everything looks perfectly neat, totally identical, and honestly, a bit soulless. Just an endless sea of purple gradients and glowing cards. It's perfectly optimized for average, with absolutely zero actual personality. So that leads us to this massive concept right here, the how-to apocalypse. Because AI can instantly whip up unlimited blog posts, unlimited frameworks, unlimited top 5 quick tips lists. Well, selling pure information is pretty much dead. Now, don't get me wrong, education itself isn't dead, but people are incredibly skeptical now. They're heavily doubting the truth and the real human experience behind basic surface-level content. We have an absolute abundance of information, but trust is the new scarcity. So what's the fix? It's a complete 180. In the old era, you could get away with just telling people things. Listicles, basic info, AI-generated tips. But in the new era, it is strictly show, don't tell. The absolute top creators are pivoting hard to evidence-based insights. They're bringing receipts. They're showing the actual data. If you're going to talk about how to write a viral social media hook, you can't just list them out anymore. You have to show the actual post, pull up your analytics dashboard, and prove it worked. That is how you instantly build value and lock in that trust. Moving right along to part 3, selling the messy sawdust. Or literally, showing your work. We're currently witnessing a massive, massive shift away from those picture-perfect final products. Instead, everyone is leaning into the messy, behind-the-scenes human process. For years, we all kind of worshipped the aesthetic algorithm. Super clean, hyper-polished, perfectly curated Instagram grids. But today, people are craving nostalgia and whimsy. They want analog chaos, mismatched colors, a vibe that feels like a messy teenage bedroom from the 90s. It's a total direct rebellion against those bland vibe-coded templates we just talked about. People desperately want to see the human hand behind the work. And look, if you check out the vloggers who are still absolutely crushing it in 2026, they all share these exact same traits. Casey Neistat with that intensely personal, unmistakable narrative voice. Bald and Bankrupt taking a handheld camera to completely off the beaten path, unscripted places. Emma Chamberlain's raw, self-deprecating jump cuts, or David Dobrik's genuine, chaotic friendship chemistry. They aren't winning because they have massive Hollywood-level production budgets. They're winning because of their unfiltered authenticity and their totally unique human perspectives. Actually, let me share a quick story from our sources that nails this perfectly. There's this creator who makes these absolutely beautiful, custom-made hats. Now, for the longest time, he just posted the finished, perfect product. And, he got pretty average engagement. But the second he started filming himself right in the middle of the messy process, shaping, stitching, literally selling the sawdust, his channel went completely nuclear. He pulled in 88,000 views on a channel that had barely 1,000 subscribers. Why? Because showing that messy, human process skyrockets the perceived value and creates incredibly deep trust.
All right, on to part 4, the power of yapping, relatable rants and raw opinions.
Now, this is probably one of the most controversial yet insanely high-performing shifts happening right now. So what exactly is yapping? Simply put, it's recording totally candid, story-based videos for social media, talking right into the camera, and, here's the kicker, intentionally leaving all the bloopers and imperfections in. This completely flies in the face of old-school marketing advice, right? But listen, if you are still spending hours editing out every single pause, and breath, you gotta stop. Modern viewers want real, unedited conversations. They literally just want to feel like they're on a FaceTime call with a buddy. And if you're wondering why this works so well, just look at the Edelman Trust Barometer. It states clearly, people place more trust in experts, creators, and relatable individuals more than faceless institutions. Think about it. When AI can churn out a flawless, sanitized corporate script in 2 seconds flat, an unhinged rant or a deeply candid story is exactly what cuts through the noise and builds massive trust. You just can't fake a real, lived human opinion. And if you're sitting there wondering if this actually moves the needle on the bottom line, try $1.2 million. That is the hard ROI generated by a creator named Jessie Jean during a single launch. And how did she do it? Simply by speaking directly and authentically to her audience on Instagram, by yapping. She didn't use some overpolished, faceless corporate funnel. She just used her raw, human voice, and her audience rewarded that trust with their wallets. Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, the Human Authenticity Advantage, Hyper-Personalization in the AI Era. This all ties together into the ultimate playbook for navigating 2026, because here is the core problem we're all facing today: generic, made-for-everyone messages. The market is just flooded with automated batch-and-blast garbage from AI, and consumers are highly, highly skeptical. If a message feels like it was written for a million different people, modern audiences are just going to actively ignore it. They need to know, without a doubt, that you are speaking directly to them. But man, when you get this right, the results are explosive. A recent case study from our sources showed that highly targeted emails, based on very specific behaviors and interests, saw a massive 4.19% click-through rate. Compare that to a generic blast sent to a whole list, which dragged in a measly 0.79%. That is a 5x increase. The problem wasn't sending too many emails, it was sending irrelevant ones. Personalization is not just some corporate buzzword anymore. It is a massive multiplier for your engagement. And the industry data completely backs us up. According to HubSpot's 2026 State of Marketing report, a staggering 93% of marketers agree that personalization improves leads and purchases. Injecting a real human point of view and tailoring your message, it is absolutely 100% no longer optional if you actually want to drive real growth today. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final provocative question. In a world where AI can perfectly replicate polish, information, and generic vibes in an instant, how do you create a brand identity and a point of view that is completely impossible to mistake for anyone or anything else? Well, the answer is hiding right there in your imperfections. It's in your messy sawdust. It's in your raw yapping, your unique whimsy. Embrace your messy human authenticity, because right now, that is the literal one thing that AI simply cannot generate. Thanks so much for joining me today, and